Pipeline Corporation, 100% owned by the government of Kenya, where money was stolen recently, it was to be privatized. Kenya Ports Authority, 100% owned by the government of Kenya, was to be privatized. There is another agency called the South Nyanza Sugar Company. It was also to be privatized, where the government of Kenya owns 98%. Nzoia Sugar, where the government of Kenya owns 97%. All these are state assets of great value. They employ several Kenyans, but these assets were supposed to be privatized in the name of allowing them to make profit, when they've been intentionally run down and made to make losses, so that the people who've stolen our money can find something to buy. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I know the buyers, and the buyer is also the seller, and the seller is the buyer. The mission for these people is to build empires that can be passed down through their descendants like royal families. But they want to do this by impoverishing and making us all poor. They want to do this all on the backs and in the sweat and tears and blood of dying Kenyans who can barely afford to eat. Today, we stand on ashes. We stand on a broken country that cannot afford basic necessities of life. Our natural resources, mined and taken abroad to develop other countries with no benefit to the Kenyan people except corrupt politicians in power. Our gold, our petroleum, our coltan, our gemstones, our titanium, our mica, our diatomite, all gone. Stolen by white people who bribe black people in power because they are too greedy to think of the future of their children. We have become beggars in our own nation. We are so angry and bitter that sometimes we forget and fight amongst ourselves. We have lost any hope in our future. We are in a state of darkness. A thick smoke has engulfed our nation. We are a population which is poor, destitute, and drowning in the tears of sadness. While we continue to cry about the state of our nation, some individuals and their children are living large and enjoying fine things. They have bought helicopters, private jets, rare cars, luxury boats, expensive watches, expensive belts. They have bought holiday homes around the world, and they have invested in building private cities. They have bought our banks. They control the sectors of our life. We cannot move without fueling in a petrol station that is owned by them. They process our food, and we eat their brands. We have become beggars at home. Fellow Kenyans, were we born to be poor, sick, and die? Aren't we entitled to human dignity? Why should we live like slaves at home? People of our nation, we have tolerated mediocrity for far too long. We have tolerated incompetent politicians who steal our money, insult us, abduct us, kill us, and continue to lead us as if they own us. We have become like pieces of furniture in a rich man's house. We need to liberate ourselves. We must set ourselves free from tribalism, corruption, and poor governance. We must liberate our minds. We need a new dream. And the time is now, not tomorrow. As a young man in this nation, I have tried my best to open your eyes. I continue to try every day. I have suffered arbitrary arrest. I have slept in cold police cells. I have been hit by metallic chairs on my head and on my neck. I have been threatened, trolled, and insulted. My privacy has been invaded. I have lost my property. My previously quiet life has been turned upside down into chaos, where every word I utter can be misunderstood and turned back against me in a sharp knife of condemnation. But I still stand tall, and I hold my head high. I refuse to buy fear. I refuse to give up, and I refuse to live like a slave. In my commitment, I've inspired many of you to join me in this journey. Now this is a movement for change. I don't claim to be perfect, but I am passionate. I'm a team leader and a team player at the same time. I believe we can change it. Ninaamini itabadilika. It is time for us to come together. We need to put aside our ego, our personal pride, or self-importance of any kind. We need to reason together as a nation. We have different ideas. Some believe we should create systems and not individuals. I believe we should mentor individuals of integrity to take over systems and institutions. Well, we can disagree to agree. In that conversation, let everyone's voice be heard in silence. Let us not troll and deplatform those who have sacrificed to present themselves for the burden of leadership. Not everyone can lead. Some of us need to follow and support leadership by mentorship, correction, and prayer. Theirs is a journey of sacrifice, a yoke so heavy to bear, but in stride and grace they bear it. On this day, I want to thank those who have stood with me, those who do not know me but defend my reputation on social media and in gatherings of every kind, those who fund my activities with their hard-earned money without counting losses. I thank the brave soldiers that fight with me every day. Together we have achieved much. Without political power, we have revived some stalled projects. We have exposed corruption, and in some instances we have prevented it from happening. We are giants. The work we do is superhuman. We should do more of this every day and inspire other Kenyans to also do what they can do in their small ways and big ways. I also thank Kenyans of integrity who have stood with the nation. Notably, I want to recognize the effort of Honorable Kio Mtata, Honorable Richard Onyonka, Honorable Gathoni Wamuchomba, Honorable Jimmy Wanjigi, Eric Omondi, media personalities, content creators like Crazy Kena, musicians who have sung about bad governance like Nonini and Shanky, the Law Society of Kenya, judges, bloggers, spoken word artists like Oeba, YouTubers, TikTokers, Kenyans on X, civil society groups, whistleblowers, and all Kenyans of good intent. If I have not mentioned you, it's not because you're little, but because I may not be able to mention all of you. May you live to see the change that you're fighting for. And may you sacrifice, and may your sacrifice be rewarded in abundance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the government has learned about your sacrifice and your relentlessness. To divide and conquer you,